Good evening, viewer. You're most welcome to the Nilecast on Westnile Television, where we give you the daily news bulletins of the day, every day from 7 p.m. to 8 p.m. My name is Kumringa Christine. Before we dive into any of the stories, let's first have a look at the news making headlines. In the headlines tonight, Arua City Physical Development Plan 2022-2040 officially launched in Arua City. Nebi District celebrates International Youth Day 2023 at Nebi Town Secondary School playgrounds. And the rise in fuel prices worries motorists in Zomba District. This and more in the Nilecast News Bulletin. A very good evening to you, viewer, and you're most welcome to the Nilecast on Westnile Television. Now let us dive into some of the stories of the evening. The ministry officials warn members of public over the insubordination and engaging in acts that block the implementation of the physical development plans in the various local governments. This comes at a time Arua City's first ever green physical development plan, which runs from 2022 to 2040, was officially launched. Frederick Jamadri has more.
The officials from different ministries of local government, lands, housing and urban development and the development partners of Global Green Institute GGI, together with the Arua City Council, have launched the city's Physical Development Plan 2022-2040 to ensure a well-planned and environmentally accommodative city in its growth. Doug Makzebe, the country representative GGI, the development partner who facilitated and developed the Physical Development Plan that runs from 2022-2024, says Uganda has not faced so much effects of environmental devastation, though the impacts of unplanned constructions, especially in wetlands and other protected areas, are witnessed. Zebi further stressed that the Physical Development Plan is a very important instrument in addressing such calamities, especially in the newly created cities that have not been densely populated.
And basically all services go. And those rains, due to the effects of climate change, those storms, rains, even periods without rain, they only will get worse in the future. That's a fact. We know for sure that that's an effect of climate change. So when you plan your city, when you plan your industries, that is something we need to keep in mind. Where is the best place to have your utilities? Where is the best place, or how can you protect your utilities? It's not only about location, but also about how to construct it so that it's ready to survive throughout the effects of climate change.
Meanwhile, Kimugisa Jackie Kiza, the commissioner in the Ministry of Local Government, retaliates government's commitment of supporting initiatives of developing sustainable, environmentally friendly fiscal plans, adding that Arua City, Gulu City and Jinja City are the only regional cities that have had their fiscal development plans approved.
The first of its kind, not only in Uganda, but globally. This is the first green physical development plan that we are having. Green in what way? Green in a way that it addresses all the new urban agenda issues. It addresses the issues of livability, it addresses the issues of resilience, it addresses the issues of sustainability. That this is a plan, if we implemented it very well, our great-grandchildren will come and find order in this place. So it is something that is not supposed to go without clearly a mark.
But Matwe Emmanuel, a physical planner who represented the commissioner in the Ministry of Lands, Housing and Urban Development, explains that physical planning is the heart of every development in Uganda and urges the city authority to fast-track the implementation of the physical development plan.
Physical planning will be one of the requirements to clear your BFP. Very soon, communication will come to that effect. Meaning that if your work plan doesn't have physical planning adequately covered, there may not be a plan worth passing.
However, the chairperson, National Fiscal Planning Board, Amantha Ngabrano, warns whoever wants to frustrate the implementation of the fiscal development plan and threatens to arrest such persons.
The big fish, please don't block anything. You are big, you are important, you are rich, but you must comply. Stop intimidating enforcement officers, the city clerk's team, the fiscal planner, by telling them to leave your land, leave your illegal building. Please don't. Follow the law, follow the plan, however big you are. In fact, the bigger you are, the more you should comply. And lead by example. Whatever political rank, whatever political position you have, even if you are a general from where, please comply. Comply and do it in the interest of the public, of the future, not for you as an individual.
Wadusam Nyakua, the mayor of Arua City, who warmly welcomed the newly approved fiscal development plan, directed all the executive committees of Arua City Council to allocate part of their resources to facilitate the implementation of the plan.
You find the money in your committees for execution of this plan. We can cut on allowances, we can cut on several other things. We should start the detailed planning one by one, training center by training center of this. We should go and begin marking those roads. Actually, if we would do it, it will be our talking point in 2026.
According to Auditor General's 2015 report on value for money, despite Uganda's Fiscal Planning Authority declaring the whole country a planning zone, only 20% of the country has been planned, and the implementation of the plan has not yet reached half, giving room for encroachments. Frederick Tamadri, Westnile TV, Nilecast. The officials from different ministries
And more in our stories. The members of the public have paid tribute to the fallen late Kamureti Tiab Caleb, who passed on the 14th of September 2023 after being bedridden at Arua Regional Referral Hospital for many weeks, battling hypertension, diabetes and stroke. Titia is well remembered as an entrepreneur, a model farmer and an environmental activist, best described as by Alliance for Science and American University, who awarded him the Farmer of the Year in 2017 for donating 200 acres of land for refugee settlement in Luweero District. Osuta Yusuf has more.
Ardent Uganda People's Congress Party member Kamureti Tiab Caleb, born in 1954, who lived his entire adulthood life in politics, as on Thursday 14th of September, gone to rest after being bedridden at Arua Regional Referral Hospital for many weeks, battling hypertension, diabetes and stroke, as confirmed by his family members and close friends. His 65-year-old brother Stephen Atuma described the deceased as a forgivable and apologetic person who stands on the truth.
Banta dinjenza chadina merulo ko banta jersi integrasi para hecho tanto drako jamanta dadre kudla moto tadama ziu tutando kana tadama kene ba mundu si tekini aromba mozisi idipe beni minti wera di area amade yede odore amasuti bulu kwa kini de beni ini yo adare so ko yo adeli ani yo dini muke da shi da ku da shi ba ne danji kaniri azimi da kita ba da yon zire ko te dini dini da ko sa di si juda o tuta da ni si ti ni ai di la chuti ba pasu kilili ojo akuni si ata gepu dini ku amani ko tini do archi gepu dini ku tutukani suru di archi pato jo gradually ni ra rezorati ojo dini asti kuri gepu azangirna.
The deceased 80-year-old paternal uncle, Asieko Kamure Peter, remembers the late for always advising and educating people through participation in regular radio talk shows. Ojoro Nibuni, the LC2 chairperson of Ochobi Parish, stated that the late Titia Kamure Peter was a dedicated UPC party member who dedicated his life in building the party.
Mr. Kamure had been a strong UPC supporter. He actually belongs to the Kamure family, and the father used to be a strong one. Even the sisters, those of Sally and what those were all people who had been strong UPC supporters. I know him as somebody who had always been strong in his wish or to make sure that UPC always grew, and he's not somebody who is sort of say okay, it's not a sort of saying I can't work with this and that party. He's always been somebody who talks much about UPC and love UPC so much because he, according to him, it's actually UPC which had brought education to be in a better sort of what, and for him, according to him, he will die a UPC, and indeed he has died a UPC as he wanted. I know Kamure is somebody who had been true to himself, though he has been a UPC, but he's somebody who likes education, and he has always been somebody who actually likes farming. And people usually, even there are times when I used to take farmers to his place, and we see how he was doing some irrigation and like. So we are really so sad about his death. May the Almighty rest his life in peace.
Terego West Constituency Member of Parliament, Honorable Lekujo, stated that the deceased Titia Kamure was a person who focused on empowerment of the people.
And we share so many attributes together. Wealth creation for the people. That was what he was promoting, and that's what I promote. So he did his part politically, socially. He did his part. I think God, that's what he has taken him. Yeah, may his soul rest in peace.
Kamure Titia is well remembered as an entrepreneur, a module farmer, and an environmental activist best described by Alliance for Science, an American university who awarded him the Farmer of the Year in 2017 for donating 200 acres of land for refugee settlement in Ochea and Terego District. Farish Majid, Osuta Yusuf, Westnile Television Nalcast.
And more in our stories. Nebi District commemorated the belated International Youth Day 2023 at Nebi Town Secondary School playgrounds with the aim to and to protect the environment. The National Female Youth Member of Parliament, Honorable Fiona Namtoro, has called upon the leaders in Nebi District to support the youth's projects like youth livelihood programs, among others in the country. Alfred Jawok reports.
As Uganda celebrated National Youth Day in Kabale on 18th August this year, for Nebi District it was held today with the aim to protect the environment. During the celebration, the National Female Youth Member of Parliament, Honorable Fiona Nyamutoro, has called upon leaders in Nebi District to support youth projects like youth livelihood, among others in the country. She made the remark this afternoon while celebrating belated Youth Day celebration for Nebi District at Nebi Town Secondary School playground.
I am grateful that we have gathered here today to celebrate with the young people of Nebi. And my gratitude goes out to all of you, our elders, our leaders, our partners, for standing together to see that the youth of Nebi are as vibrant as they should be. Nebi as a district, I think, is not void of leadership, because when you see the caliber and quality of leaders that we are producing, we are certain of the future. The only thing we need is continuous support. Exactly, yeah. And that is all we advocate for. I want to thank the young people in particular, the youth leaders. It is not every day that you get a group of youth leaders who are committed and they know what they want. Ours is a drive to create a difference in society. Because we know where we come from. We understand our backgrounds. We've been limited by many factors. We've had cultural hindrances. It's not been easy to have women, young girls in Nebi come and stand in different positions of leadership today. When I now see we have the first female cow, we've had female leaders at different levels, very many young women that are representing at different levels, my heart skips for joy. Girl child education is everyone's responsibility in this district. We need to ensure that we represent our people at all fronts by supporting the girl child. The reason as to why I'm emphasizing that is because when we have more girls complete education, we are not just supporting girls going to school, but we are building communities. We are having mothers that are going to nurture future leaders. When we have high rates of teenage pregnancies, it is our communities that are being destroyed. Because we shall have children raising children, and it is not a situation that we can be proud of.
Nebi District Youth Chairperson Xavier Kakonda equally used the same event to highlight the importance of celebrating National Youth Day. He further appealed to the government to add more funds to support youths in the country.
Wowoto kubansa kondi wawakara wadwa ningeyo program pagamente ebelu iwabel makwe ikoma ene jaditu elomira wora wanjalo jorotela parado wangmapol kawo bebinitela kumeni ngeyu tekne ya aradweni gisomo rokani ngechbigitiye nedi wan kutela mwa wawangini youth council wa yiyu ya wabechi wakarado mwa ni winju lebe mobe winju igi wekara dimak lebe pasomu bedi chingi so apita youth iwa ichokoma eni niya ya arado Nebi District iyabo wangi ichokiri kidok cheke isomu ilevel matongtong asaga ne jorotela eni mababe wetu kawoni polmigi ubechi graduating mange kademira nyim wabikelo ke wandano ni neno niya ya lebe mobe wetu igige utie lebe ma utie kakado kakare ikome eno utie kendingo kubang sub-county wateka wako arado ni binu iponji matongtong mamako kom bodo miching tekene arado mo yobre banu ungeyo chwak ma eri wagenwango Bang Plan International bagiyap iwakapedu majulongo smart hub utie ide town kakeni watie ko ungu majulongo Lucky Nation Foundation gitie kodungu matongtong mapon but above all wafoyo gamente madit pemiku iwa the only sub-regional youth hub in Moyale Westnile utie izongo but I have eloko bankare yongebi abusia wachoko betwalo aralo ubechego ubesomi zombo kinwango bodo miching gibe timu teach me salon gibe nalo kitemi gurukom nyo tiu kubao majulongo kapenfino metal fabrication kulebe mungegi kingi so watie kugenia ya kubang sub-county kawa tiu matek ikane mubini wamwa wabibelu kujoro bodo mapol mao betimu teach mege gitiu kuduwi gigigi ebimeko anyonga man ekela lokaloka ikwami gide.
During the celebrations, Emmanuel Orombi, Nebi District Chairperson, recalled how celebrating Youth Day is important, and he expressed his disappointment to youths and other leaders who did not attend the function.
Kanu mitu queer ubini bangara. Some don't give me to rakoringo. This is very bad and shameful. It is bad and it must stop forthwith. You attend Kamara even one wa kwaradisima kwa pedi koboko. All other chairpersons kwaradisi giche koboko. But one watch since tinute mindu parado. One day wa weko lebe. Elemba mo bi weko koko periye.
The belated National Youth Day celebration for Nebi District was under the theme Empowering Youths with the Green Skills for Sustainable World. Alfred Jawok, Westnile TV, Nilecast.
And more in our stories, Ajah Game Reserve in Moyale District used to be home to Uganda's largest number of white rhinos. But however, due to the excessive poaching, the government of Uganda moved the remaining species to Ziwa Rhino Camp Sanctuary in Luweero District for protection from extinction. Today, the leaders in the district have embarked on the process of restoration of the species with the call for support from the masses. Farish Majid has more.
With the preparation for the full restoration of Ajah Game Reserve in Moyale District in high gear, the leaders are calling for the support of the masses due to the benefits the project will come with. Ajah Game Reserve was named after Jai, a local Madi chief who had the love for the protection and conservation of wildlife around 1937. In 1965, Ajah was accorded a wildlife reserve status. Until the late 1980s, the reserve stood and identified itself as home for the few surviving white rhino species in the country. However, due to excessive poaching that endangered the species from extinction, government relocated the remaining species to Ziwa White Rhino Sanctuary in order to protect the remaining species. Today, the leaders in the district have embarked on plans to restore and expand the game reserve boundaries that will come with the reinstatement of the white rhino species, as plans are underway to bring lions, elephants, and giraffes to the facility. Drabe Ismail, the LC5 chairman Moyale District, called for cooperation from the members of the public, especially those affected by the expansion project.
Okay, for us as the leaders of the district, we have called upon our people to join us in our struggle to give all support to UA and ministry in the development of this place. We have been made to know that there are some people who are resisting this initiative, but we want to say, for us, we are going to do everything possible to see that this place is redeveloped. Because where it is not redeveloped, it is actually useless to us. For us to enjoy it, we need to redevelop it, where it will be of benefit to all of us.
Knight Zahara, the tourism officer for Moyale District, explains the benefits of the restoration of the wildlife species and the expansion of the game reserve.
Reserve being the only reserve in Westnile, this will attract a lot of tourists to the destination. Of course, to the communities, we shall have community projects. There are schools within national parks that, of course, there is a revenue sharing of 20%. Such revenue will be used within the community to develop social amenities and other kind of supports like schools. We have the roads, we have the community projects, let me say souvenir shops. Communities also indulge in other activities like cultural dances, which is at a fee. Then we also want to train them to be tour guides, the rangers. And of course, when the area is restored, we shall have accommodation facilities. The same communities will be employed to work there within the hotel sector. That's a benefit to them. Then to the government, of course, we shall have revenue. These days we are gearing at domestic tourism. There are locations near Congo and Sudan. Of course, the category of people who these days like to travel, the youth, will automatically come here to Ajah Wildlife Reserve. Then we have schools. Instead of school children to go to Murchison Falls, to other places in Eastern, it will be, Ajah will be nearer to our Westnile schools, both secondary, primary, and even universities. They will come here. Then the other opportunity will be for research. Those interested to do research, Ajah will be a very good avenue. And of course, that is a lot of revenue, both the district and the local community.
On the readiness of the community towards the venture, Drasi Alex, a community member, says that the community are willing to comply in the restoration process, though still have a challenge of the land.
Regarding the issue of the community perspective on the understanding of reintroduction of the giant wildlife, in particular the white rhinos. One, the communities were positive, and they are still positive from the time ago when this information reached to them. There were some community engagements done, consultative meetings were conducted, and the responses were all positive. However, the communities also delayed their complaints to UA about the reintroduction of the white rhinos. One, when these rhinos were at Ajay Game Reserve, there were as many as there are now, and they were in the current Ajay Game Reserve. Though later on there was any information that the UA wanted to acquire more land for the white rhinos to be introduced. That one, the communities turned somehow against it, because that is the only asset of my dear people of Moyale, in particular those residing next to Ajay Game Reserve. So that is their only asset, and they get things from them. They do farming there. A lot of things are done on that small piece of land that people are having. However, negotiations were done. I don't know how far they reached, but I believe if the white rhinos are to be introduced in the current Ajay Game Reserve, there will be no problems, and the communities are positive.
According to information from Uganda Tourism Board, Uganda's tourism sector is steadily recovering from the COVID-19 pandemic, as it received more than 800,000 international visitors last year, which generated about $736 million.
Once this facility is fully restored, it will play a great role not only in the tourism sector of Moyale but the entire Westnile sub-region. Farish Majid, reporting from Moyale District for the Westnile TV Nilecast.
And more in our stories, fathers in Moyale District have been enlightened on the NutriCash project implemented by Save the Children in order to support their lapidating women so as to boost the nutrition in their families, in a dialogue meeting which took place in Moyale District Town Council Hall in Moyale District. Okumu Dominic has more.
Over 30 men in Moyale District have been enlightened on the roles played towards achieving good nutrition in their families under the NutriCash project implemented by Save the Children, with the aim of empowering the fathers to support their lapidating women, expecting mothers and children to boost nutrition in their families, in a dialogue meeting which took place in Moyale Town Council Hall. Mr. Opolot Francis, the focal point person in the dialogue meeting with Save the Children, urged the fathers to disseminate the knowledge they have got in the dialogue so as to fight malnutrition in the community.
The representatives here will support us cascade the information to other men, because the idea is we want them to behave well in their families, try to support them with their women very well to make sure that children are brought up without getting malnourished. And also we have been explaining to them the purpose of the NutriCash, but also the coverage, the selection criteria, and so on. And also the different components, because we have NutriCash, we have social behavior change, we have financial literacy, which is also being handled by another partner, and so on. So we've been able to capture all that with them, and we think they should be able to support us cascade the information down to other members.
Mr. Richie Adam, one of the participants, lauded Save the Children for supporting the government initiatives and implored the community members to embrace the project.
Masini programu ngole NutriCash service temandole Tanzania Save the Children bane kwa programu de ore existere community area dawzi Kenya na manzo kosi ya programu gametuliro gwaleka ndolea kare Dr. Dibu kore kila kala karbatisi desi ma community bari dapat encourage ndolea ba buledi esi tako na wati identify introduce ba Bulletin agency of the Sept the children World Food Program Zibati Ribatito introduce Bulletin also nika kwenye debati su desi ani community ali mai ani program anya mulaka anya na America.
Mr. Anyama Charles, the senior assistant town clerk who doubled as the chief guest in the dialogue meeting, said men are known for always having negative attitudes towards such projects, yet some of them deliberately refuse to support their families.
I witnessed actually where the mothers were getting money. I remember they were getting about over 90,000. I think that was for a quarter, which I witnessed at centenary grounds there. But I must say that is a very good approach, where we support our mothers to feed their children well. And I remember one of the biggest challenges we have is the slow response of men to support these mothers. Because we have got incidences where our fathers forcibly remove this money away from the wives, the mothers. And this has caused a lot of GBV in those households. Moreover, some of the men have rendered themselves very useless. They don't give support deliberately at household level.
Nutricas is a project which started in 2020 by World Food Program in partnership with Government of Uganda to fight malnutrition in the Westnile region. Over 1,000 mothers have benefited. Under the project, mothers are given 48,000 shillings every month for a period of 2 years and are expected to use this money for buying nutritious food for their children. But however, many of the lapidating mothers have complained about some men forcibly taking away the money and using it for their own interest, hence resulting into domestic violence in the communities. The project is implemented by Save the Children with funding from World Food Program with support from the government of Uganda. I'm Dominic Anton Okumo for Westnile TV, Nile Cast.
And more in our stories. Motorists and riders in Zomba District are concerned about the rise in fuel prices of petrol ranging between 5,200 shillings to 5,400 shillings and diesel ranging between 4,800 shillings to 5,100 shillings. That is affecting their profits from the transportation business. Alfred Jawok has more.
Motorists and riders in Zomba District are concerned about the hike in the price of fuel, especially petrol. Currently, the price of petrol is ranging between 5,200 and 5,400 shillings, while diesel is between 4,800 and 5,100. According to Rasuluriam, the chairperson by the Boda Boda Association, the increase in fuel prices is affecting their businesses, and yet majority of their colleagues are running the motorcycles on loans.
Inwango ni anoka chalo nyapea, waringo nyo silingi livabish, kauni kewa chilingati silingi livabero, ngati binya UPM, then ngati bisa yupikipiki muda wakadoka gi, ipeko palembe pumo. Then pumo bei pare, ushako maber, silingi livangwen kuwie, yeni yomo tuishwanga chile livabi, haune livabi daka share, kawori mawabe weshu omotie elifa bida kabi ma tijene doki watek wakwayo gamente mamua kashopu ni neno lembe inu ne omo nijwigu iwa nwango ber madi yen boda boda utie tish matek ma eshoko dhugarado budi ma ber gamente umako partiwa ne niya lembe ne kaza na pire jujwigu bipo mo iwa.
However, The chairperson of Paida Drivers Association, Swale Manano, noted that despite the increase in fuel prices, they have maintained the price for transportation. Swale admitted that profits from the transport business have reduced due to the increase in fuel prices.
Land transport what the Kakai, the one in transport, welcome on Medire. Dano put what way ye well machon to see Wangudung. A poka tika kini wilo moy well mamano mamalo ento ido giye dani well maping in wangu keni transport ne bidok watek magwe dong wa bekwayo wangu jurutela gekonywa ikum lempo momu bisidi wange igi.
Meanwhile, the state manager of Fatema Boda Association, Charles Ongwech, attributes the increase in fuel prices, mostly petrol, to the high demand by motorists.
Kawoni peko mwanwangu peko pomo. Kawoni dano kadi ilun customer watu ki pay mero. Ma ento wanwangu ni alitu iwa utie pay pomo. Kawoni pay pomo mede kupangche. Mende chupula roko dangone. Yuango mi chupu timu. Ukelu nikabu iwa nyo yomumo chupu wangu kusete. Kawoni tene kufongere. Leme cheke jai, leme cheke ma alinga kakai ukwe. Wapoda wangu peko iyo matongtong. Kawoni eni peko pomo kawoni eni pomo kupangche ngope medre. Daka shell, daka rio wanwangi waleto. Lembe mawa chopu kwa ibi government konywa.
Julius Uchungi, a boda rider at Zale stage in Zeusap County, said the increase of fuel prices is driving many boda riders out of business, as some of them are riding motorcycles on daily percentage and loans.
Sente mupwe wengine wangu ya jumo kutia karing percent wengine wangu ya sao sente tie chalo ana dana maring ma posho ngano wangu ya tingu ira sente matiti wangu mo chalo mo chono biduna wel single for mwe but ka wondo ngote kan wangu mo be single for beach da kan mwe ngati iwate chalo boda wate kan wangu leto bikato.
Currently, the price of petrol at Stabek fuel station is 5,500. The fuel price may shoot up to 6,000 shillings if the situation persists. Alfred Jawok, Westnile TV, Nilecast.
And more in our stories. The scientists have put Ugandans on high alert as they warn of the likely catastrophe in the wake of the Nipah virus outbreak in India. The South
started bringing for you the NILE sports news. A lot of country. The first one we are going to start with is all about the kickstarting of the new season. City, not forgetting about Tara FC with 3 going the other way to the Start Times FUFA Big League. The clubs that we are relegated last season to go to that Start Times FUFA Big League are Ontoparaka Football Club, a side that comes from Westnile, not forgetting about Black Power, a team that comes from Northern Region. The new season of 2023-2024 of the Start Times Uganda Premier League officially kickstarted today with 3 games being played. Looking at how the games went today, Tara, new promoted side, we are able to beat Sports Club Villa by 2-1, and this is a side that finished as a runners-up last season. I'm talking about Sports Club Villa, and they have opened the new campaign with a defeat into the hands of Tara. Meanwhile, the other game was actually between Bull FC and Bright Stars, and we have seen Bull FC edging Bright Stars by 1-0. And then the other game was actually between newly promoted sides, tussle it out between themselves. A game between Mbara City and NEC FC. NEC, we are able to edge out Mbara City at Kateka, the own ground of Mbara City. The game ended by 1-0. The same scoreline registered by Bull FC over Bright Stars. The games will continue on Sunday with 4 fixtures on the card. The game between Express and the team that's KCA, of course, has been postponed because KCA will be engaging themselves in a continental football, that's CAF Confederations Cup. Looking at the other games to be played on Sunday, actually PDF will be tussling it out with a team in the names of URIFC. Meanwhile, Gatafe will be staying at home as they say hi to Das Vipers. The other games are witness the game between Wakiso Giants up against the team Maroons, and this game will actually be at Kavumba Recreation Center, the home ground of Wakiso Giants. Leaving that story, they are still within the country. As I said, a lot of stories are happening within the country. Mito Sedovich, the coach of Uganda Cranes, have been sacked. Mito returned for the second spell in the camp of Uganda Cranes in 2001, and this season he has failed to guide Uganda Cranes to the AFCON that shall be hosted by Ivory Coast next year. Uganda was in a hot group, that's in Group C, alongside countries like Algeria, Tanzania, we talk about Niger, and they were able to finish in the 3rd position behind Taifa Stars, and losing the both encounters into the hands of the Desert Foxes, Algeria, and again losing the first leg of the other encounter into the hands of their neighbors. Taifa Stars could not seal the qualification as the ticket for that Uganda Cranes to see that they represent the region in the AFCON, as African Cup of Nations next year in Ivory Coast. And the next task for Uganda Cranes, of course, will be an encounter in the World Cup qualifiers, where they're also in a dangerous group alongside Algeria. Burkina Faso is also in the list, plus the other countries like Guinea. Mitchell had the first spell in Uganda coming in 2013 up to 2017, where he guided Uganda Cranes for the first ever African Cup of Nations after 39 years, ending the drought. And he left the country in 2000 afterwards, and he has also worked with so many countries in Africa, plus so many clubs he has worked with in Africa. Some of the countries he has worked in include Rwanda. He has also had times with Zambia before returning to Uganda for the second spell. And also some of the clubs he has worked in within the continent of Africa includes Orlando Pirates. He also worked with Zamalek, a team that plays in the Egyptian Premier League and winning the title with them. And he also had a short spell with a team that plays in Saudi Pro League, that's Al Hilal. Away from that, still within the country and finalizing the stories all about Abdallah Mubril being appointed as the assistant coach for Crested Cranes. Abdallah Mubril has worked with so many clubs, including Viper Sports Club Villa, KCA Police FC, and he has been working with Uganda Cranes, and he has officially been appointed as the assistant coach for that Crested Cranes, or as the ladies team of Uganda. Uganda, they are preparing for the Women's African Cup of the Nation encounter, where they will be playing Algeria, and this game will be on 20th of this particular month, September, and the year is 2023. That means the game will be next week on Wednesday, and it is a home and away encounter where they are going for the first leg in Algeria before coming for the return leg. And another encounter lying ahead of Darcy Crested Cranes is actually the Olympic qualifiers, whereby they will be facing Cameroon ladies team. Before actually being drawn against Cameroon ladies team, they had a preliminary round up against Rwanda, where they were able to surpass Rwanda. That means they will be meeting Cameroon in the Olympic qualifiers. In case they happens to progress past Cameroon, we'll be seeing our ladies team crested cranes in the Olympic Games come next year, and it will be hosted by France in Paris. Abdallah Mubril will be working with the rest of the technical members to see that the actual overcome Algeria come on the way in the women's AFCON qualifiers and also the test up against Cameroon. With that, we have come to the end of today's edition of Sports News. My name is Orak Benson Pastore. Have the best of your time, and we'll link up again tomorrow.
Thank you, Rocco Benson Pastore, for the sports news and the sports highlight. And with that, viewer, we've come to the end of the Nilecast on Westnile Television. Thank you for being with us from the beginning of the Nilecast to the end of the Nilecast, only on Westnile Television. Please stay tuned to the rest of the subsequent programs that may follow. My name is Okumuringa Christine. Have a good evening.